Thank you. This time I want to say welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Yomerson from University of Gondar. Before we proceed to the entire site, I'm asking you to do like, subscribe, and share to your friends. The practice you did, it will encourage me to further. Today, there are different issues from this chapter, and we'll see about the drainage system and water resource of Ethiopia and the whole from the chapter 4. So the basic concept from this are there are different points which is listed here. You can see, and we'll discuss in detail about those concepts which is listed on this chapter. So there are introductions concept. There are major drainage systems of Ethiopia. I think we remember just how our drainage system and topography were divided into different sections. Even just our drainage system, just they flow into different direction due to different reasons. So we'll see those concepts. There are the divisions of drainage systems. Would have a lots of water resources. Both the lakes and the rivers, they flow into different direction. So we'll see those concepts in detail. These are the main issue. Try to see this time. What resource? There are the western drainage system. There are southeastern drainage system, the Rift Valley drainage system, or the inland drainage system. We'll try to cover these concepts and discuss in detail. And what the other concept, water resource, there are rivers, lakes, and subsurface water. There are the Ethiopian rivers. There are different rivers we do have. Those, they rose from the Ethiopian highlands. So we'll see those rivers. What the general characteristics of the Ethiopian rivers, and besides to this, we do have different lakes. Both the highland and the Rift Valley, they are situated at the highland and the lowland. We'll see those lakes. These are. And we'll see about the surface or groundwater resource of Ethiopia and what the water resource potential and development in Ethiopia. We'll see those concepts in detail. So please give me attention and listen attentively. What are the basic concepts? Starting from the introduction concept, there are, for instance, this is the world concept, the world. This is the world concept. So our world, which is covered by 71% of our world, which is covered by the water portion. So the rest is the only, or we can say 3/4 of our world just covered by the seas and the oceans, or we can say water portion, but the rest is the dry land. So this is the one concept. From this one, for instance, from the 100% of the water portion, just 97.5% of the water which is found in the seas and the oceans, they are alkaline water. They are alkaline water, but the rest, the only minute proportion is 2.5% is fresh water. From this fresh water, if we consider 2.5% as 100%, so from this 100%, for instance, 68.7% is deposited in the glacier water, which is found in the glacier, 30.1% in the groundwater, 0.8% in the frost, and 0.4% in the surface water. So these are some of the concepts as an introduction, and please just consider those pointers totally to generalize this one. 70 or 3/4% of the earth which is covered by the water. From this one, 97.2% is 0.5% is just the alkaline water. the rest 2.5 only percent in fresh water, which is found in the ground and surface, which it encompasses ground and surface water. So the surface water, comprises like the lakes, the rivers, the atmospheres, soils, waterlands. Those are the surface waters you can see. For instance, there are different concepts about there are surface and groundwater, most abundant and easily available fresh waters. The surface and groundwater, we can say the fresh waters, and they found easily, or that is easily available fresh water, we can say. Fresh water is just this fresh water, both the surface water and the groundwater, they are distributed unevenly throughout the world due to different factors. They are not equally distributed throughout the world. So there are different factors. Those are the main factor. The one is latitudinal location. Latitudinal location, just the water availability, the water potential, both surface and groundwater. The places which are near to the equator, they have a better potentials, which is compared to the middle latitude, and the high latitude go to the northern and the southern portion. So these are the main factors for the uneven or improper or unfair distributions of those surface and surface and groundwater availability. The climatic condition, the other factors. The other factors. For instance, if places they have a better climatic condition, they have that places they have a better amount of rainfall and groundwater potential. If we go to the dry land, those dry land, they don't have a ground potential, and also they a little amount. They will have a little amount of ground potential and surface water in terms of climatic condition. For instance, the lowland compared to the lowland in the highland areas, the highland is better ground potential and than the lowland because of the climatic condition. So climate is the other factor for the distributions of the water throughout the world. This is the concept. Topographic setup by itself, topography is topographic setup the other factor for the unevenly distributions of the water, the availability of uneven or unfair distributions of the water throughout the world. So this is also not only the world, or just this, when we take this context for us, it is true in Ethiopia case. Just the highland, they have a better water potentials than the lowlands. So this is, for instance, when we talk about the Ethiopian case as a topography, just Ethiopia is 3/4 of the Ethiopian mountain, which is found in Ethiopia. The 3/4 of the African mountain, which is found in Ethiopia. That is why we have a good potentials of water resources. There are lakes, there are international rivers, which is rise from the Ethiopian highlands due to the topographic situation. And when we see the different African countries just near to the Ethiopia, they don't have a water availability. Even those countries, they just, yeah, they utilized most of the Ethiopian rivers, which is rose from the Ethiopian highlands. This is even just they consider that of they consider in that way. Sorry, like about it. So in terms of the topography situation, so countries, they have all the water resources, they are unevenly distributed throughout the world. This is true also when we take this context to us. And finally, just the topographic situation, just we already discussed in this concept. So in terms of the topographical situation again, for instance, most of the African countries or the East African country, they are a direct dependent on the water resource of Ethiopia, especially the international rivers, which is sourced from the Ethiopian mountains. This is all about the factors which it makes uneven distributed or unfair distributions of the water. So when we conclude this concept, latitude, climate, and topography is the factor for the uneven distributions of waters either in the rest of African countries or within Ethiopia or the other countries also. It is through this context. So the other concept try to discuss in this chapter, there are, for instance, in terms of Ethiopia, have larger volume of ground and surface water. So we do have a larger ground and surface water due to the diverse topography, due to those factors, the diverse topography, the higher rainfall, and nearness to the equator. So we do have a good potential, either the ground and surface water due to those factors. The one is the diverse topography we do have, starting from the depression to the highland. And we talked, Ethiopia is just a country which has just a high elevated ground compared to the rest African countries. And the higher rainfall amount also that is prevalent within Ethiopia, due to this reason, just Ethiopia has a better potential than the rest East African and African countries. Nearness to the equator, just we discussed before, our country is one of the tropical countries. It lies in between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer. So that is why Ethiopia is a country which is found in the tropics, within the tropics. So one of the tropical countries. So this near to the equator, the country has a better potential in terms of this ground and surface water. So this is so when we see the total percentage of Ethiopian land, from the total size, 0.7% of the Ethiopia, it is covered by the water bodies. From this one, this is the amount in terms of the surface water potential. We do have this amount, 124.4 billion cubic meters. We do have these surface water potentials. So previously we say just Ethiopia, due to this reason, we consider Ethiopia the water tower of East Africa. Just we do have many international rivers. They are sourced from the Ethiopian highlands and flow into the different direction, to the east, to the west and south and the north direction. So we consider Ethiopia as the water tower of East Africa. This is, and what was the main concept from this one we discussed before. Ethiopia also one of just a country which has an elevated ground, larger proportions of elevated ground compared to the African countries. Even Ethiopia is the home of just many mountains, and 3/4 of the African mountain which is found in Ethiopia. So this is due to this reason we consider Ethiopia as the roof of Africa, the roof of East Africa, or Africa, we can say. That is. So we discuss in this way. Those mountains, having those mountains, Ethiopia just has many rivers. Those rivers, they rose from those highlands. So now we're let's see about also the main concepts about the main drainage systems of Ethiopia, having different rivers. So different lakes, we have different rivers. Just those rivers, they flow into different directions. And generally, we call this drainage, just the drainage systems of Ethiopia, we call in general in this way. So when you talk about the drainage systems of Ethiopia, Ethiopia has 3 drainage systems. This drainage system, it follows into different directions. So the one drainage system, the western drainage system we do have, the southeastern drainage system we do have, and the Rift Valley drainage system or the inland drainage system we do have. Before we going to discuss these concepts, there are different concepts. You should have to know those concepts before the divisions of those drainage system. So there are, for instance, what do you mean drainage? Drainage, that is a well-defined channel. The water just through the flow of water through the well-defined channel. We can say that is drainage. And the drainage system, there are drainage systems, which mean the river, the main river, the tributaries, they flow into the main river. And finally, that tributary, it makes a drainage system. So drainage system is the tributary which flow into the main river. That line, we can call it a drainage system. And what the other concept from this one, there are the river by itself, it has sources and the end points. So this is the river which is begin at the place called, we can say source, that is the beginning point of the river, or the stream point, we can say that one is the source, and the end or the mouth, the end of the river, we can say the mouth. This is the other concept. Yeah, must have a clear concept on this issue. Just there are also the drainage pattern. What do you mean the drainage pattern? Mostly the drainage pattern is mostly affected by different factors, or that is determined by different factors. For instance, the directions of the river affected by or directed through those factors. For instance, the geological process. If some event has happened, if some event happened at a place, maybe the event is diverted the river's direction. So, for instance, the Rift Valley situation, you can see the Rift Valley. The Rift Valley, the formations of the Rift Valley, due to the formations of that Rift Valley, it breaks the flow of the river into different direction. The Rift Valley, it separated the Ethiopian highlands into two. One, the Eastern Highland, the South, the Western Highland. So due to that reason, the river which is sourced from the Western Highland, they flow into the Western direction, down to the Eastern direction. And the river which is rose from the Bari, Alisi, and Sidamo Mountain, they flow into the Eastern direction. So this direction mostly determined by the geologic process. And the other, the Rift Valley lakes which is along to the Rift Valley, they flow inside the Rift Valley. They are not flow outside the Rift Valley due to the geologic process. So this one, the natural and the structure of the rocks, the nature and the structures of the rock. If the rock is very soft, if the rock is very hard, maybe the harder rock it bend, it will turn the river direction, this one, from the previous direction. And the topographic situation, for instance, topographic situation, yeah, maybe the lowland, that is the lowland, I think it is the river can penetrate easily the lowland than the highland. So so due to the topographical situation, from the highland to the lowland, always river they flow from the highland to the lowland. So in this way, just the topographic determine the directions of the rivers, the directions of the river. For instance, if there are the mountains in between the rivers, just after a distance, after a long distance, after, for instance, 3 or 4 kilometers, if there will be a highland, the highland, it will divert the directions of the river. So this is the slope of the slope. Also, the slope of the land, it determines the speed of the water. This is, and the amount and the periodicity of the flow, amount and the periodicity of the flow. For instance, within the drier time, most of the Ethiopian rivers, they dry up and it reduced their volume. When the summer season, just the most of the Ethiopian river volume, they increased. So due to that, the volume, just the fluctuations of the volume due in the different seasons, this is the factor for the patterns of the river, patterns of the river. If the river, they have a better volume, they flow in a larger volume, and they made a new channel. They will make a new channel. If the river is smaller by its volume, may not need an additional pattern. So this is the other factors, the factors for the drainage pattern. Drainage pattern mostly affected by this factor. So you should have to highlight those concepts. And the major drainage system we do have, we talked lots of time just, we do have 3 drainage systems. The one is the western drainage system, the southeastern drainage system, the Rift Valley drainage system, or sometimes we can say the inland drainage system. So we'll see. This is the western drainage system, come to here. The western drainage system. This one, the western drainage system, mainly the southeastern drainage system and the western drainage system. We talked lots of concepts about the Rift Valley before. So after the formations of the Rift Valley, the Ethiopian highland were split into 2: one, the western and the southeastern, and also the Rift Valley by itself, we do have those topography. So our drainage system is also determined by those separation, by the separations of the Ethiopian river. So the western drainage system has their own flowing direction. The eastern drainage system, the southeastern drainage system, also they have own flowing direction, and the Rift Valley drainage system also they have their own. So this system just resulted from the Rift Valley, the Rift Valley situation, we thought. So the western drainage system, this is the largest of all the drainage system. We can 40% of the total area of the country, just from the total area of the country, just the drainage system which is covered by the western one, the western drainage system. This one is the 40% from the water portion, just the water portion we have 40% of from the total area covered by the western drainage system, but the rest is maybe for the southeastern or the Rift Valley drainage system, it encompassed. And from this one, the western drainage system, the annual water flow of annual water, 60% of the annual water flow, which is covered by the western drainage system. So this is starting from the western highlanders and flow into different direction. We do have different drainage system from the western. The one is the Takezi. The western drainage system, it encompasses the river Takezi, the Abai River, Baro Akobo, and Gibe Omo rivers. So this one. So from the 3 of the western rivers, the western rivers or the rivers, they flow into the western direction. But the one is exceptional. The Gibe Omo River it flows into southward, but the other is they flow into the westward, and finally they empty into the Mediterranean Sea. Takeze is the one river which is sourced from the Tigrian Plateau, and they crossed the northwestern borders of Ethiopia and emptied into the soils of Sudan. And this Takeze named as Atbara in Sudan. Atbara in Sudan. And this is the one river, this river is the tributary of the Abai River, the Abai Rivers. So the Nile River, the tributary of the Nile River. Abai is also the other rivers, and Baro Akobo, this one is the others. So those rivers, the Abai, Takeze, and Baro River, they follow westward, but this one is to the southward. The Give Omo, it follows, but structurally it is grouped to the western drainage system, but it flows into southwards and empty into Lake Turkana or Tanganyika, south of Ethiopia, north of Kenya. The lake which is found south of Ethiopia and north of Kenya. So this is, for instance, just this is starting from the Abai River. Abai is the largest river both in volumetric discharge and coverage from the western drainage system. So these are, it covers an area of 1,900, this is kilometer square, 1,909, 199,812 kilometer square. This is just the volume, the Abai River coverage. And this is the Abai, it crosses, for instance, the Amhara, Oromia, and Benshangul lands, the Benshangul. So those regions which is crossed by the Abai River. The Abai River, it crossed, don't forget, the Amhara, Oromia, and Benshangul Gumuz regional states. So you can see, this is some of the Abai River, for instance. There are, this is the rivers. This is Takeze, for instance. For the Takeze, there are two tributaries. Takeze by itself, it has the Marab, and Guang River is the tributary of the Takeze River. Takeze, which is named as Atbara at the Sudan, South Sudan. This is Sudan. So this is starting from the Tigrian Plateau. You can see the Abai rivers. It crosses the Shoa Plateau, the Amhara region, and the Benshangul Gumuz region, and it passes through this direction and flow into Khartoum. This, the Abai River, it is sourced from the Choke Mountains, especially from Sakala, and Little Abai, also the main source of the Abai rivers. So this is from the western drainage system. You can see the major, the larger volumetric, the larger volume of water which is discharged by the Abai River. And finally, this river, it joined to the White Nile. The White Nile, which is sourced from Lake Victoria, 85% of the Nile contributed by the Abai, and from the White Nile, from the Lake Victoria, it joined at Khartoum. Those rivers, they joined at Khartoum, and after they are joining at Khartoum, this river, Abai and White Nile, named as Nile River, and finally it emptied into the Mediterranean Sea, with crossing the Egypt land. So a distance, the Abai River having a distance, or Nile River, we can say this is the longest river, just and having a distance of 1,450 kilometers, having a distance. And the other western drainage system, Baro Akobo drainage system, you can see this is the Omo Give drainage system. Baro Akobo, you can see the Baro Akobo, yes, this river is rise from the wettest part, and it empties into South Sudan. Just it flows to the soils of South Sudan, and this river named as Sobat River as South Sudan. So these are this one is exceptional. The three of them from the four rivers of the western drainage system, the one is flow into Lake Turkana southwards in this direction. So you can see this direction. This one is the Rift Valley areas. So structurally belongs to the Rift Valley, but it is grouped to the Western drainage system. You can see. So this one we consider Omo Give River is the one inland rivers. We can say inland rivers. It remains within the soils of Ethiopia and Kenya, just Tanganyika. So this is the other drainage system. When we see this one, there are the southeastern drainage system. For instance, when we see this one, the Wabi Shebele and Ganale River, the main rivers, they flow into the eastern direction, and finally it joins to the Indian Ocean system. Ganale directly empties into the Indian Ocean system. Wabi Shebele is not directly just empty into the Indian Ocean. It has a problem of seeping at the soils of Somali. It failed at the soils of Somali, or we can say do not have a direct empty into the Indian Ocean system. It is a seeping problem over here. So this one is the southeastern drainage system. The others, the Rift Valley drainage system, there are different lakes. There are from the Afar Triangle, there are lakes, Afrera and Asal here. From the Rift Valley lakes, from the main Rift Valley lakes, starting from south of the Awash River and up to the Consoland. There are different Rift Valley lakes near to the Adama area we discussed. There are Bishoftu, Babugaya and Hora here, and there are also different lakes here next to Duai, Langano, Abiata Shala, and then downward to the Shashamene, near to the Arban. There are Chamo and Abia lakes, and at the main Rift Valley, these are the main Rift Valley areas, and go to below to southward at the Chao area, smallest Rift Valley, around the smallest part of the Rift Valley. There are Sagan and Waito. You can see these are the inland drainage system, but the one river is here from the Rift Valley drainage system or from the inland drainage system. The one river is the Awash River, which is sourced from or rise from the Shuan Plateau. The only river, just the only inland rivers from the Rift Valley, and it drained or flow into the Lake Abe to near to the Djibouti areas, near to Djibouti and Ethiopia border areas. Finally, it emptied into Lake Abe, this river. So this is the one river you can see. And coming to for the description, when we explain one by one about the Western drainage system, let's start to the Abai River. Abai, from the Western drainage system, it carries 65% from the region. The annual water flow of just from the Western drainage system, 65%, which is covered by the Abai. There are Abai sources from Lake Tana, Sakala, and Sakala or Choke Mountains. We discussed this is the distance of the Abai, 1,450 kilometers Abai. And finally, this Abai joins to White Nile. It contributes 85% to the Nile, but White Nile, it contributed 15% only. And those rivers, they join at Khartoum, and finally it named as Nile. The Nile River just it empties directly into the Mediterranean Sea. So sometimes the Western drainage system, we can say the Mediterranean drainage system. Some books, some reference books, they say in this, they used this explanation. So this is Abai. It has more than 60 streams, you can see. So the most from this stream, the larger stream is Gilgel Abai, or Little Abai is the main source of the Abai. You can. The other, the Takazi rivers, I think from the region, this river, it covers 12%, you can see. And starting from the Tigrian Plateau, we talked a lot of time. So please consider what we discussed before. The main tributaries of the Takazi River is Angarab and Guang River. This is the concept. Takaze River, it's named as Atbara at Sudan, when it flows and at the soils of Sudan, it's named as Atbara. So this is the one concept of the Takaze River. Baro Akobo and Give Omo rivers. Just we discussed Baro Akobo, which is named as at South Sudan, named as the Sobat. This is also the tributary of the Nile River. At Takaze also the tributary of the Nile River. So in terms of this volumetric, in terms of this volume coverage, 70% from the region covered by the Baro Akobo. 6% is Give Omo from the annual flow it covered. From the annual flow it covered. Just 70% from 70% is for covered by the Baro by Baro Akobo. Give Omo it covered 6% respectively. You can see those concepts. This is the Baro Akobo. It covers part of the Benishangul Gumuz, Gambela, Oromia, and southern nationalities and peoples. This one, those regions crossed by the Baro Akobo rivers. So this is Give Omo, the other western drainage system from the western drainage Give Omo. But I talked to you structurally, this belongs to the Rift Valley, but it grouped to the western drainage system. So it's emptying to Lake Turkana, the lake which is north of Kenya, found north of Kenya and south of Ethiopia. Yeah. So this is a river. Also, we consider this river as one of the inland drainage, the inland rivers, This is the second classification, the second divisions of the Ethiopian drainage system in the southeastern drainage system. Those drainage system, those rivers, they are sourced from the southeastern highland, especially from Arisi, Bali, and Sidamu. So mostly this drainage system, this area drained by the Wabishabali and Ganali. These are the main rivers from this one. The main rivers like Wabishabali and Ganali, those rivers, they cross the border, our border, and they flow into the Republic of Somalia, and finally they empty into Indian Ocean. So these rivers, both Awash and the Ganali River, it covered 25% from the country annual flow, the total, from the total flow, 25%, which is covered by the southeastern drainage system, especially by Wabishabali and Ganali River. So the Ganali River, just covering parts of Oromia and southern nationalities and peoples and Somalia. But this one, the Wabishabali, it covered Oromia, Harare, and Somalia. So this one. So when we see the others characteristics of this Ganali River, this is in terms of this volume, in terms of this size, Ganali is smaller than the Wabishabali, but in terms of this water volume discharging annually, Ganali is better than Wabishabali River. You can see. So Ganali is it reaches directly into the Indian Ocean system, but Wabishabali is not. It has a problem of failing at the soils of Somalia, at the soils of Somalia, or it has seeping problems at the soils of Somalia. So you can see. So when we come to in terms of discharging volume, Ganali is better than the Wabishabali. And what about the Wabishabali? Just in terms of this catchment coverage area, Wabishabali is greater than the rest rivers of Ethiopia. That's in terms of coverage. Wabi Shabelle is the larger river, and also within Ethiopia, in terms of this distance, the longest river in Ethiopia, But outside, when we talk outside, the Abai River is the longest river. Abai is the longest. But when we talk about within Ethiopia, Wabi Shabelle is the longest and the largest in terms of catchment coverage. So it disappears at the soils of Somalia. Wabi Shabelle, it disappears at the soils of Somalia. We discussed in this. Why? That is just this one. And what the other characteristics is the Indian Oceans? I think Ganali, when it reaches at the soils of Somalia, named as Juba River. So this is the name of Ganali at the soils of Somalia. The other drainage system, the Rift Valley drainage system, I think we talked and you can remember what we discussed before about the Rift Valley drainage system. When we talk about the Rift Valley drainage system, in this case, just most of the reference book, it says as the inland drainage system. This is the third classification, but your material is just it talks the Rift Valley drainage system, means the lakes which is found in the Rift Valley, just they drain into the soils of Ethiopia. They are not flowing outside. So we say the Rift Valley drainage system. But this classification is just, it is not encompassed the lakes which is found in the highland. For instance, there are lakes in the highland situated at the highland: Lake Tana, Lake Dangana, Lake Ashengi, and Lake Hike. So it excludes those lakes. When we call as a Rift Valley lake, just the Rift Valley classification, it excludes those lakes. But sometimes we say, to generalize this drainage system, we say the inland drainage system. This is the Rift Valley drainage system. So come to the main point, this one. The Rift Valley drainage system is an area of small amount of rainfall. There are a small amount of rainfall, high evaporation in the Rift Valley area, small catchment areas. It covers small catchment areas. So this is the only just major river, just the only major inland river is from the Rift Valley, the Awash River. Awash River is the only river from the Rift Valley, or we can say inland rivers. Mean the river, it is not just flow outside Ethiopia, it flows inside Ethiopia or empty into Lake Abyei finally to the northeastern directions of Ethiopia. So this is the one character. So this Awash River is sourced from the Shuam Plateau, and finally it flows into the northeastern directions of Ethiopia and empty into Lake Abyei, the lake which is near to Djibouti and Ethiopia border. And this river, it crossed Amhara, Oromia, Afar, Somalia, and Dredwa and Addis Ababa. So those regions and the city administration crossed by the Awash River. So this river is sourced from the Shuam Plateau, and finally by crossing those regions, those three regions, the four regions and to city administration, and finally it emptied into Lake Abyei, these lakes which is near to Djibouti and Ethiopia border. You can. So Awash is the only utilized river in terms of irrigation. So the only utilized river for irrigation purpose. You can consider those concepts. We talked just the also from this one. This is some of the characteristics of the Rift Valley drainage system. So there are Rift Valley drainage system. When we just see those Rift Valley drainage system by its separation, as we separated before the Rift Valley section, the Afar Triangle areas. There are also the main Rift Valley areas, and the Chobahari area. So those those areas, they have their own different lakes, but those lakes, they are remain inside the Rift Valley. So those rivers, they will not, those lakes, they will not flow outside the Rift Valley, or they remain inside the Rift Valley. So we say those lakes as a drainage system, that is an inland drainage system, or we can say Rift Valley drainage system in this way. So there are different drainage systems. For instance, there are near to the Afar Triangle, there are lakes of Afrera and Asal, Lake Afrera and Asal, you can see. And there are different characteristics from this one, the Afar drainage sub-basin, for instance. Area of little rain. Just when you go to the Afar area, there are little rain, very high temperature, very high evaporation, and also there are a typical example for Afrera and Asal in the main Afar Triangle area. So just this is the one section. Before, don't forget the concept we discussed about the topographic division. The Afar Triangle areas, this is the one sections of the Rift Valley. The more harsh climatic condition, there are the temperature is greater than 50 degrees centigrade. Even the lowest depression is here. And so we discussed before. So in terms of this drainage system, there are Asal and Lake Asal and Afrera. They are remain in the soils of Ethiopia, especially in the Rift Valley. They are the Rift Valley area. So you can see the Rift Valley portion. This is the northeastern direction, starting from the southwestern directions of Ethiopia. And it stretches from here, Chobahari area. This is the Chobahari area. This is this area, the Konso area. Below to this one, we say the Chobahar group. And from this up to this one, this lower, the south of the Awash River, we can say the main Rift Valley area. The longest and the narrowest portion, long and narrow portion, which means from the west to the east, it has a distance of 50 up to 80 kilometers, but here, just a distance, the wider section or Afar Triangle areas, just from 200 kilometers up to 300 kilometers, just this is the widest. So in terms of the structural, just we expressed as the Rift Valley as a funnel, it has a funnel shape. So this is the Rift Valley areas you can. So this Rift Valley, due to the formations of the Rift Valley, it's separated the Ethiopian highlands. Even not only the Ethiopian highland, but also the drainage system is separated due to the formations of the Rift Valley. So this is the western drainage system. These are also the southeastern drainage system. The Awash and the Ganale and the Awash River, they flow into this direction. This western drainage system, it flows into this direction, and the one is exceptional, flow into the southern direction. So there are also here, you can see. So the lakes which is along or situated along the Rift Valley area, they flow into the Rift Valley areas. They are not flowing outside the Rift Valley. So we consider the Rift Valley drainage system, or sometimes an inland drainage system, without the exclusions of the lakes which is found at the highlands of Ethiopia. For instance, the Lake Tana, Lake Ashenge, and Lake Hike, and Lake Zengena to Gojam, and Hike to the Amara region, near to the Desi areas, and Lake Ashenge in Tigray. So those are the highland lake. When we encompass them, we say an inland drainage system, just this one. So this is, we already we discussed about that. Of there are different lakes, Rift Valley lakes we discussed. At the main Rift Valley, for instance, at the main Rift Valley areas, there are different lakes we discussed before. So starting from near to the Adama areas, there are Bishoftu, Babugaya, Hora, these are. And next to that, go to southward, there are Zuwai, the shallowest lake. And go to just next to the Zuwai, there are Langano, there is Langano. And also the other is next to the Langano areas, there are Lake Shala and Abjata Shala. So Shala is the deepest from the Rift Valley lakes. And next to the Abiata Shala, there are lakes Awasa, Lake Awasa near to the Awasa town. And next to the Shashamene, near to the Arba Minch area, there are Chamo and Abia. Chamo and Abia. From the largest Rift Valley lakes, from the Rift Valley lake, the largest one is Abia. So these are some of the Rift Valley lakes, which is belongs to the Rift Valley. And the Highland Lake, just there are Lake Tana from the Rift from the lakes, just from the Ethiopia lakes, the largest one. Ashenge in Tigray, hike near to Dese and Dangana. So you can, when we encompass those together, and we referred as the inland drainage system. So most of the referent they are they used an inland drainage system, but the material we have here, it's explained as the Rift Valley drainage system. So you can consider those concepts. We do have different